And the process next. I mean, how many of you guys have seen the documentary? Okay, so a lot of this you will have seen in some way.
That little old film called Strong Enough to Break.
Yeah. Before we go any further, there really were two polar opposite sides of this whole process. This album, as much as I hate to say one album is sort of a coming-of-age album, I think Underneath is, if there is one for us, because it was on the one hand really positive because there was a ton of music that we had inside of ourselves. We need to get out. But you're like, that was funny. But on the other hand, it was just like, it began to be like pulling teeth every single step because of the same dynamic we were having with this, really the whole industry was changing. The whole industry was changing in a more of a way, extreme way than it had ever changed before, starting in '99, and we talked about this, not to only go into label stuff, but so we all of a sudden had more and more of this heavy-handed hip-hop label, and when we suggested a songwriter or producer, our goal was we want to go into the studio, we're going to start working, we want to finish this record, we have fans that bought records before, we have shows that we want to be playing, we don't need to sit around and ponder the universe, we need to make a great kick-ass record, we need to go back out. It didn't sound so easy to the rest of the people. It
sounded pretty easy to us, not to them.
So we set
That's for why they have not made records.
Yeah, we set out to write and work with amazing people and sort of push the doors back and sort of say, okay, we're not going to give up on this label because that takes a lot of work to think about leaving a label. We're going to continue to throw them ideas, throw them songs we feel good about. That first batch of 5 songs, which was Crazy Beautiful, Underneath, Get Up and Go, Dance in the Wind, and I remember missing one. What was the last one?
I can't think of it. There was so many songs on that record.
When You're Gone, actually.
When You're Gone, yeah. And so we felt like those were, here's the beginning of a record. This is the sound of a record, this is the feel. And it was just...
And it's hard to get much more pop than Get Up and Go. I mean, let's face it. I mean, so it's like if anybody was like looking for like, a song that would say, hey,
it's a hit, kids, bring it.
A song like Get Up and Go or a song like Underneath should have gotten them in the thinking that that it was red.
But part of the thing about us is probably a lot of bands, even at least I would say a lot of bands. I would hope that many bands that didn't care as much about relationships, and we tend to want to have long relationships with people. Everybody in our business, everybody in our team. And so I think there's a little bit of that good Midwestern Oklahoma boys that was like, we're going to figure this out. And we went into all this like, we're going to write another song. And so we started calling up great people that we'd work with. We said, okay, let's go write a song with Carole King. That should work. And we wrote, I wrote a song with Carole King. These two guys wrote songs with Carole King separately. We wrote a couple songs with Mark Hudson, our friend, Stephen Maroney, who we produced the last 2 albums with. Let's see. Ed Robertson from the Bare Naked Ladies, Greg Alexander from the New Radicals. I mean, started just being completely relentless. Like, we're just gonna write and work and record, and we're gonna make music and just keep throwing songs.
And we did it really quickly.
Yeah.
We started doing that sometime in January, February, and by the time
high amounts of caffeine.
Yeah.
We didn't sleep, we were on shifts, 24 hours.
And by the time we hit April, May, we had 40 songs that we'd already presented to them, and we were sitting there already going, wow, this is more songs than we have ever presented to anyone ever.
I think what's
Middle of Nowhere was 25. This time around was about 22. So we were already double what we had presented for any other.
Not to say that some bands don't write a lot more songs than that. Just we didn't in the case of an album.
Because we didn't present all the stupid...
You don't present a song unless you already think, hey, this is pretty damn good. Yeah. So there's about, 80 others that were like, yeah, these are working process.